Everyone, Greg did not want me to ad lib because he's afraid what I might say. But anyway, I have a brief statement that I'm going to read, and then we'll move on. Today we celebrate the public service of two Hudson Valley favorite sons. Both are sons of mailmen. Both are former assemblymen, and both are willing to fight for what they believe in, and both have been moved by their frustration with the way Albany taxes working families. Today, a great man, Governor George Pataki, is here to endorse another great man to follow in his footsteps at being our next state senator for the 40th District. After attending Peekskill High School, he entered Yale University in 1964 on an academic scholarship. He received his JD from the Columbia Law School in 1970. Governor Pataki first won elective office in 1981. He was elected mayor of the city of Peekskill. In November 1984, Governor Pataki was elected to the New York State Assembly 91st District by defeating the one-term Democratic incumbent William J. Ryan, winning 53% of the vote in November of 1986. November of 1992, Governor Pataki won the election in New York State, representing the 40th District in a four-way race. No easy task, I might add. Yep. Governor Pataki launched his campaign for governor because of his frustration in the Senate regarding how Albany worked and on the tax issues. He was little known statewide. Governor Pataki was considered an underdog from the start since he was running against three-term Governor Mario Cuomo. The polls had Governor Cuomo up by as much as 10 points going into the final 2 weeks, but then he narrowed at the end, and in reality, however, Governor Pataki remained neck and neck with Cuomo during the entire race, focusing solely on the issues of tax cuts and the death penalty during his campaign. In the end, Governor Pataki defeated Cuomo in the general election and went on to become New York's most admired governor, and he still is to this day. That's right. Governor Pataki married... You're welcome. Governor Pataki married Elizabeth Rowland in 1973, and they have 4 children, Emily, Teddy, Allison, and Owen. I now present to you Governor Pataki.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Rick. Thank you very much, Chairman, and it's great to be here. I have 4 children, and in 6 weeks I'm supposed to have my first grandchild. So on the personal level, everything is great. And let me just say, it's wonderful to be home. I was proud to represent this district in the State Assembly. I'm proud to have represented this district in the State Senate. And over the course of the last few weeks, I've been traveling all over the country. I've been in 14 different states campaigning for people in very close elections, but none is more important than when you come home. You know, I got involved, the chairman was talking about my career from mayor of Peekskill to being governor of this state. I got involved because I'm a native of the Hudson Valley. I love this part of the country and this part of the world, and I've literally been around the world, but there's no place like the Hudson Valley to me. And I love this state because New York State has always, literally for centuries, represented opportunity and the chance to build a better future for people from every corner of this country and every corner of this world. And look where New York State is today. Look what's happening in Albany. We have a state government that is not only dysfunctional, it is an embarrassment. And a couple of years ago, a guy ran saying that this state government was dysfunctional, the legislature was dysfunctional, and he was going to go up there as a reformer. And that person was Assemblyman Greg Ball. And don't cheer yet. But let me tell you something. I was in the state legislature, and I saw person after person get elected as a reformer, and once they got there, go along with the powers that be. Well, you should be proud that Assemblyman Greg Ball got there and continued to be a reformer from the inside instead of going along with the powers in his party or the powers in this state. Today, more than ever, we need a reformer in the majority in the New York State Senate. Today, you saw what the Democratic leadership is doing to the state Senate and to our state. They are not just corrupt in a political sense, they are corrupt in a criminal sense and are trying to steal hundreds of millions of dollars from the taxpayers of this state. If ever we needed a reform member of the state Senate, it is today, and that person is Greg Ball. In have been appalled to see what's been happening over the last 4 years in Albany, but I didn't think it reached the level where state senators and leadership of the state Senate had engaged in blatantly corrupt activity to the point where the Inspector General has referred a number of them for possible criminal prosecution. This is unprecedented in our state, and it has to stop. For the last few years, we have had one-party rule in Albany. It has been a catastrophe. If we return that corrupt Democratic leadership to the state Senate, shame on us, because we have an alternative. And that alternative is to elect Greg Ball to the state Senate, restore bipartisanship, restore reform and integrity in Albany, and give the people of this state the confidence in our future they are entitled to have. The chairman was talking about how we have similar backgrounds, having grown up here and having fathers who worked in the post office. I remember when I got to Albany, and I was an outsider. I remember when I ran a tough primary for the state Senate against the party establishment and won. And people said, well, what is going to happen when he got to Albany? Well, I think they saw, that I continued to be the reformer that I had been when I was running for office. And the people gave me the honor to lead this state. Let me tell you one thing for sure. You elect Greg Ball, and he is going to continue to speak up for the people and not for the powers in Albany, and continue to be the reformer we need to straighten out the mess that is Albany and state government today. So I'm honored to be here. And let me just make one more point. I always ran not just because I had Republicans voting for me and conservatives voting for me and independents voting for me, but because I had Democrats voting for me. And if you're a Democratic voter in this Senate district, take a look at what the leadership of your party has done to our state and to the state Senate. This is not a time for partisanship. This is a time for reform. So not just Republicans and conservatives and independents, but Democrats should look and say, we need Greg Ball in the state Senate to straighten out the mess that is Albany today. So I'm honored to be here. You carried him over the line for the state assembly. You carried him over the line in the Republican primary. Now make sure for all the people of this district and this state, you make Greg Ball the winner and the next state senator from this district on November 2nd. Thank you. Go get him and make sure we win. Greg.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank you very much, Governor, from the bottom of my heart. And on a very personal level, we do have similar background. This was the state senator for this district, and it means so very much to think that maybe one day I would have the opportunity to fill your very big shoes. You all know I grew up on a very small farm in Paulding, New York. I was in 4-H for about 10 years, and in my barn I had your campaign sign that I saw every single day as I would take care of my animals. I'll never forget in 1994 when everybody had counted this governor out.
Yeah.
And I remember staying up all night listening to the returns because I believed that he was going to win. I knew in my heart that he was going to win, and that was a time in New York State history, that was a time in American history when the American people had had enough. And this governor, who was counted out by all in the media establishment, all in the political establishment, waged an amazing upset victory, and that's exactly what we're going to do on November 2nd. And the governor put it so well, so there are two people I don't want to follow, Governor Pataki and Jim Coleman, right? For those of you who know Jim Coleman. This is a several hundred-page report from the Inspector General. Now, this is a Democratic appointed Inspector General. We're talking about a pay-to-play scheme. We're talking about bid rigging. We're talking about Democratic state senators, the majority leaders at the highest of levels, that actually threw a victory party and held a victory dance on the deathbed of the taxpayers in New York State after bid rigging this multi-billion-dollar contract that will be one of the largest contracts in New York State history for a casino. This goes to the highest of levels, and my opponent has accepted over $300,000 in tainted campaign contributions. Now, if you think that this is partisan, it's not. Eric Schneiderman, running for Attorney General, said, you know what, I'm going to return these campaign contributions immediately, and he's done so, along with a number of other Democratic candidates for state Senate. I asked today that my opponent stand up and be counted, just like I did when I shook up my party 2 years ago when I asked for Joe Bruno to step down 2 years before his indictment. This is my opponent's time to stand up and be counted and demand that both Sampson and Malcolm Smith resign, and that he personally return the $313,000 in tainted campaign contributions that he has accepted today. Thank you very much.
Very good. Very good. Is there some questions?